This is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. Camera from 2018, but still a bang for a buck in 2022. I have been using this camera for 3 years now, and today I want to tell you why it's still a good buy in 2022, but most importantly, for who is this camera. In my opinion, this camera is meant for filmmakers and cinematographers, you know, not like the stupid YouTubers. Yo, what up and welcome on my channel. Here we are focusing mainly on filmmaking in lifestyle and traveling, so if that is something you are into, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. First of all, I want to show you some of the best features of this Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, just to know what beast we have here. So, for only $1,300 US, which is really awesome price, you get 4K, B-roll or ProRes in 50 or 60 FPS, which is amazing. That's great. B-RAW is really great codec, and in combination with DaVinci Resolve, it's playing smoothly, everything is going pretty fast, and it's not the best raw codec, but it's really awesome. And yeah, just by the way, with this camera, you get DaVinci Resolve Studio version, the full version, just for free, just that you buy the camera, you get it for free from the Blackmagic. If you want to go 100 or 120 FPS, you need to switch to Full HD. As I am shooting some B-roll right now, I forgot that you can actually shoot 100 or 120 FPS in 2.6K resolution also, which is not that bad. There is less of the crop and better image, so I really forgot about it because I'm not using the 100 or 120 FPS. 12-bit colors, 13 stops of dynamic range and dual native ISO 400 and 3200. Micro Four Thirds chips with MFT mount. Well, most people on Blackmagic cameras are using speed boosters to EF lenses because EF lenses are just better. I don't like Micro Four Thirds lenses that much. And with the speed booster you also get bigger field of view and also more light coming in to your chip. Capability to record to SD cards, CFast cards or to external SSD via USB-C. Microphone jack, headphone jack, HDMI, power supply port and mini XLR port. These are one of the main features of the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera. Now let's talk about some pros and cons about this camera, because it's not only green when you get these specs for this low price. But first of all, what I really love about the camera is the overall image. Oh my goodness! That is really awesome image from this camera. I love the look. It has more of the film look towards the cinema cameras more than like the DSLR, the digital look, and I really love it. And with the high dynamic range you are able to shoot outside on the bright sunlight without any issues, and even in the dark environment you have the native dual ISO, you switch to 3200 ISO and you are good to go. It's not the best low light capabilities, but you can do pretty well. And the image is main reason why I have this camera, even though I'm shooting for YouTube, and this is not the ideal camera for YouTube. We will get to why in a second, but I am just mainly for the image, and anything else not interests me that much. But one thing which I hate the most about this camera is the screen. You cannot move it in any direction, it's built into the body, and that's really annoying sometimes. I don't understand why it doesn't have some tilt screen or something, at least like little bit of movement. That is just horrible. When you want to do like low shot or top shot or something like that, you see just nothing. So then you need some external monitor, and in order to have it on the camera you also need some rig and so on and so on. For example, the newer 6K Pro version of this camera have the tilt screen, but it's also bigger, heavier, 2 times expensive, and the file sizes are much bigger than on this camera. And even on this camera there are pretty big file sizes. From one wedding you can get up to like 600 gigs. Big yes for me is the 12-bit color, B-RAW, the dynamic range, and in combination with DaVinci Resolve, the smooth playback and everything is just working. You can pull anything from the camera, like literally. I was filming during harsh sunlight on top of the mountains covered in snow, the highlights blooming and everything, and the camera handled it so nicely, and even there was some room left for color grading. Then in B-roll settings you can correct white balance, ISO and much more stuff, and the smooth playback in DaVinci Resolve. Oh my god. For some people, one of the things to consider is lack of autofocus. There is no autofocus and you have to use manual focus, and why you should master manual focus you can check out in this video in the corner. But when we compare it with other cinema cameras, not DSLRs, most of the professional cinema cameras also doesn't have autofocus. And this is one of the reasons why the camera is not ideal for YouTube, because you don't have the flip screen, you cannot see yourself, you only see the record light, and also you have to use manual focus, you don't have any autofocus. So for YouTube, not really ideal, but still I have the camera. Because I am a bit crazy about the image quality and stuff. Yeah, I know. Maybe one day I will buy the Canon C70 with amazing autofocus, blah 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 blah. But if I would like to buy it now, I would have to take a mortgage, so yeah, I'm staying with the Blackmagic. One of other disadvantages is the battery life, because in Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K you are using the LPE6 batteries, which one lasts for like 30 minutes or so. But as you can see, I have a light rig for my camera. Here is the battery plate for NPFV batteries. This has like 77 watt hours, so you can shoot almost the whole day with that. And here you just connect it to the camera and you are good to go. Yeah, I know it's a bit more complicated and it will definitely cost some more money, but it's not that expensive. And I think if you mean it seriously with this camera and you want to really use it for documentaries, commercials and so on, you will need some rigging, at least some basic like I have. For some, this is a downside. For some, like me, it's not that big of a deal. But this is really up to you. The image is staying still the same. You can have it without anything and some slide rig like I have, or some pretty heavy big rig like on cinema cameras. And big advantage against other cinema cameras is the price. Like 1300 bucks for this camera and this image quality. Oh my god, that's heaven. And even with some accessories like I have, you can get to 2000 bucks, which is really awesome price compared to Sony a7S III or Canon R5C or even the Red Komodo. And with that we can get to how it compares to newer cameras on the market right now. Because let's be honest, the world of filmmaking and technologies is moving pretty fast forward, and this camera is like 4 years old, so can it compete with newer cameras? Well, yes, but it depends. Let me explain. When we are focusing only on the best performance for the money, there is no competition on the market right now for the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. Because of its really low price and really great performance, in this price range I can't find any camera. But what if we compare it to Sony a7S III or Canon R5C or Sony FX3 or something like that? Well, these are all awesome cameras with ton of features and lot of capabilities. However, they are almost 4 times more expensive than the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. In terms of image, this camera can definitely compete with even 4 times more expensive cameras. I would even say that it has a better image than Sony a7S III. Please don't hate me in the comments, okay? I just love the image from the Blackmagic. I think it's just better. But there are definitely some disadvantages against other cameras, like lack of autofocus, it doesn't have any image stabilization, and you cannot take any photos with this camera, or at least in decent quality like with other DSLRs, and also you don't have the flip screen and much more. But this all depends on how you would like to use your camera. So a question, for who is this camera? Well, that's a good question, thank you for asking! In my opinion, this camera is meant for filmmakers and cinematographers, you know. Just for those standing mostly behind the camera, shooting commercials, documentaries, music videos, and so on. Not like the stupid YouTubers. Like on those projects, you have time to set up the whole rig, you know, you have your first assistant camera pulling the focus, you don't have to care about that, you are good to go, big rig, heavy cameras, you know, like, you know what they say. The size matters. So for those types of projects or shooting, this camera is pretty ideal. Well, yes, that is kind of true, but I think when you are starting out with filmmaking or doing some kinds of vlogging and so on, something like that, you don't need this camera and this camera is not for you. Rather buy some camera which will help you with its tools and capabilities and so on, like go for some expensive cameras like Sony a7S III, Canon, blah blah blah. Or you can go into lower cameras like Lumix S5 for example, or the new Sony FX30. These are also really good cameras. So now, the main question of today. Is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K still worth to buy in 2022? Well, why are you asking this stupid question? It's definitely yes, everybody should own this camera. Oh my god, again him. You know what, don't listen to him, because this camera is not made for everybody. So let me know down below in the comments your opinion on this camera in 2022. But for me, it's definitely yes. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe would be appreciated, more videos is coming, and thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one. Bye bye. Stupid YouTubers shooting on Sony or Canon. Blackmagic is the way to go. Yeah. Like, maybe the autofocus would be nice. Oh no, sorry. If you don't have the right cinema camera, you are just a crazy dude with the camera. Like true filmmakers have the cinema cameras. Oh yeah. Oh, you are still here?